The world's strongest hero, Leo Demonheart, defeats the Demon Queen Echidna and her generals, dubbed the Elite Four, like Pokemon. But he later offers his services to Echidna to help rebuild her army. Unfortunately, he's violently rejected. Though, there is some hope as members of the Elite Four admires him. Dragon General Edward and Shadowless General Murnies respect Leo for his warrior abilities. Then there's Beast General Lily, who was knocked out by Leo, and by her species traditions, she considers him her future husband. We also have Sorceress General Echidna, who respects him for defeating her in a magic duel. Considering this, they decide to interview Leo, where he reveals that after defeating Echidna, a baseless rumor spread among humans that he was planning to become the next Demon King because he was so powerful. Forced by his own terrified citizens, the king has reluctantly exiled Leo. Now disillusioned with humans, Leo has lived aimlessly for a while until he has heard that Echidna was trying to recruit soldiers for her defeated army, so he decided to try and join her instead. The Elite Four decide to hire Leo to handle the entire rebuilding of the army, but without Echidna's knowledge. If he produces good results, then they will try to convince Echidna to officially hire him. Leo hopes to one day speak to Echidna and learn of why, in the middle of war, she prevented her soldiers from eliminating humans unnecessarily and potentially caused their own defeat. Leo realizes most of the army's problems were caused by their leaders returning to the demon world to recover from injuries given to them by Leo during the war, leaving only Echidna, who knows how to run an army, but she's exhausted. He decides to take over replenishing the mana reactor that powers the castle's magic items, a task that usually only Echidna could perform due to the wavelength of her magic. He also teasingly demands a kiss from Echidna if he performs well. Along the way, he sees a young servant woman, Dionette. He then annoys Echidna by taking an unusually long break, where she ends up threatening to fire him. At that specific moment, Dionette appears having replenished the reactors. Leo then explains he crafted a talisman tuned to Echidna's magic wavelength, allowing anyone with mana to replenish the reactors, thus removing the burden from Echidna. Echidna realizes that Dionette, along with her other servants, are actually all worried about her, and they also want to help. She is then forced to admit that Leo has solved one of her problems. He then returns to work, but first, he tries to claim his promised kiss, only to be punished by the embarrassed Echidna. With food and equipment stores running low, Leo now has a new mission to ensure that the next shipment arrives safely. But he's worried that Lily has submitted a guard mission proposal that simply instructs everyone to have fun together. The dragon folk who reside in the Largo Sea provide the demon army with food and other resources. However, Lily is too childish to ensure safe supply lines that Leo has sent. He ends up finding nothing is organized properly, and somehow a single supply mission takes over a week to complete. Realizing that Lily wants to do well, but she is held back by her immaturity, Leo fakes a snake bite and sends Lily into the mountains looking for healing herbs. By setting problems that require her to think logically and use her workers effectively, he hopes to force a more mature way of thinking on her. Unfortunately, when Lily transforms into her guardian form, Fenrir, she is able to bypass her problems with stubborn strength. In disguise, Leo attempts to give her logistical hints, but his plan is a failure as Lily gets the herbs anyway. He is then surprised when Lily actually learns from the experience. As it turns out, she just needed to be bluntly told the right way to do things. Leo also realizes that he underestimated her intelligence. Regardless, Echidna is pleased at Lily's progress. In order to hide his identity from Echidna, Leo has been disguising himself at work as the Black Knight Onyx. But his achievements have come to the attention of Echidna, who demands a meeting with the Black Knight Onyx immediately. Later, Leo meets Echidna and finds she has planned a dinner to reward his work. He's then forced to remove his helmet, but he alters his face with magic. Meanwhile, Echidna hopes that Leo and Echidna don't become close. Leo then asks why she has rejected the hero Leo from her army, but he's met with a furious response saying that Leo unwittingly prevented her from capturing the Philosopher's Stone from a city. At that time, Leo had not known Echidna wanted the stone because he knew its powers are greatly exaggerated from rumors. Then, Echidna reveals the demon world is a polluted wasteland where everyone fights over resources. But she just wanted the stone to make the land fertile so the fighting can stop. Thus, she was forced to battle humanity as she knows they would never easily hand over such a holy relic. She also reveals that while she hates Leo for stopping her, she respects him for doing his job to protect humanity. Leo then realizes that Echidna is actually quite a kind person. She's just forced to commit evil acts for a good reason. Therefore, he wants to help her. Echidna then asks why he, a human, has joined her army. He almost tells her the truth about being Leo. But before he could do so, they are interrupted by Echidna and Lily. It turns out that Myrnice has left to go on a journey and Edward is accepting the blame for losing the war. Thus, he plans to take his own life. Echidna goes to talk to Edward while Leo tracks down Myrnice. Finally finding him, Myrnice admits that he's scared that in 3 days he will have to start interviewing applicants for positions in the army because he's terrible at conversations. So, he demands Leo teach him how to talk to others. With Myrnice returned to the castle, Echidna is not surprised that he was under so much stress, given the fact that Myrnice was a supporter of totally eliminating humans, but now he has to work with them. On the other hand, Edward truly had tried to finish himself off, but his impenetrable dragon skin kept saving him. So now he's being watched at all times by his daughter, Julieta. Later, Leo forces Myrnice to masquerade as a waitress, forcing him to talk to all kinds of people while also revealing that he too was useless at talking to people back when he was still learning how to be a hero. Though, he eventually learned to conversate through practice and experience. Myrnice then practices on a group of ill-behaved werewolf mercenaries. However, when they turn lecherous, he is forced to discipline them, almost revealing his true identity. And nevertheless, Myrnice learns the basics of conversation, and during a practice interview to hone his skills, Myrnice asks Leo why he really joined their army, when his desire to see humanity destroyed is clearly a blatant lie. Myrnice explains that he's half demon, half human, and was sold into child slavery. Seeing Echidna's war has caused him to volunteer to join, but he was disappointed when she spared more humans than she exterminated. Myrnice briefly considered disposing of Echidna to lead the army himself, but he resigned himself to just being a general until he was defeated by Leo, who told him to experience the world, not as an assassin, but for fun. Leo then decides to reveal his biggest secret. He's actually much older than anyone realizes. He's over 1,000 years old, and was born in modern Tokyo where magic didn't exist yet. Demons invaded from the demon world, so human scientists created 12 living weapons called demon hearts, which included Leo. All the other demon hearts have already died in battle, while Leo himself was made more durable. Even though he still appears as a young man even after the modern world was left behind and society has become what it is today. Leo was so tired of fighting and tired of being unable to die. So when humanity rejected him, he was filled with joy as he could finally have fun. He reveals that joining the demon army seemed like the most exciting thing to do. So he did exactly just that. Since meeting Echidna and the generals, he has found that he has genuinely liked them and wants to help them out. Leo also points out that Myrnice is already good at communicating because he knows how to listen, and his responses are always honest. So he shouldn't worry as he will do just fine running the interviews.